Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
Podcast title: The Rivalry. Padres versus Dodgers, breaking down the battle. Podcast host: Good Advice Giver Podcast. Participants: Male 1, Greg. Female 1, Sarah. Male 2, Marcus. Female 2, Jessica. Greg, Male 1. Welcome to the Good Advice Giver Podcast. I'm Greg, and today we're diving into one of the most exciting rivalries in baseball, the San Diego Padres versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is one of those matchups that gets every baseball fan talking, whether you're a die-hard supporter of one of these teams or just love a great rivalry. Today, we'll be talking about what makes this rivalry so intense, breaking down some of the most memorable moments, and discussing where we think this battle is headed. All right, let's start with some history here. The Padres versus Dodgers rivalry didn't always have the same level of intensity that it does now. Historically, the Dodgers have been the more successful team, with a storied franchise that includes numerous World Series titles, MVP players, and Hall of Famers. The Dodgers have always had an edge in terms of legacy. The Padres, on the other hand, have traditionally been considered underdogs. They're a younger franchise, founded in 1969, compared to the Dodgers' much longer history that dates back to their Brooklyn days. But the rivalry between these two teams really started heating up in recent years, particularly as the Padres have become more competitive. I think it's safe to say that when Fernando Tatis Jr. entered the scene for the Padres, everything changed. Suddenly, the Padres weren't just a team looking to be competitive. They became a real threat to the Dodgers' dominance in the National League West. Tatis brought swagger, confidence, and an electric style of play that got under the Dodgers' skin. That's where things really started to get spicy. If you go back to the 2020 season, during the pandemic-shortened year, that's when we really saw the Padres and Dodgers rivalry hit another gear. The Dodgers were the reigning kings of the NL West, but the Padres were right there, nipping at their heels. You had Tatis, Manny Machado, and that whole exciting Padres lineup going up against the likes of Clayton Kershaw, Mookie Betts, and Corey Seager. The games were intense, and you could feel the tension building every time these two teams faced each other. One of the moments that stands out to me, and probably to every Padres or Dodgers fan, is the bat flip heard around the world. You know the one I'm talking about. It was a 2020 NLDS, and Fernando Tatis Jr. hit that towering home run off Walker Buehler. He flipped his bat with so much confidence, and it sent a message. That moment ignited a fire in the rivalry. The Dodgers didn't appreciate the showboating, but the Padres were letting everyone know that they weren't afraid of the big, bad Dodgers anymore. That's the thing about this rivalry. It's not just about winning games. It's about the culture clash between these two teams. The Dodgers have always had this aura of professionalism and being the top dogs, while the Padres have embraced a more youthful, exciting, and sometimes brash attitude. The way Tatis and Machado play with flair, the energy from Petco Park when the Padres are on a roll, it's electric. Meanwhile, the Dodgers have that blue-collar, workmanlike approach to the game, but with undeniable star power. Another factor that has made this rivalry so intense is the fan bases. Dodgers fans are passionate and they're everywhere. It doesn't matter where the Dodgers play, there's always a sea of blue in the stands. They've got one of the largest and most dedicated fan bases in baseball, and they expect to win every year. The Padres, though, have built a more local but extremely loyal following. San Diego has really embraced the Padres in recent years, especially as the team has gotten better. The Slam Diego chants the Friar faithful. It's become a true baseball town. One of the things I love about this rivalry is how it's not just about the regular season anymore. We've seen the Padres and Dodgers face off in the postseason, and that's where the stakes really rise. In 2020, the Dodgers took care of business in the NLDS, but you could feel the Padres were on the cusp of something special. The rivalry has only gotten more heated since then, with every series between these two teams feeling like a playoff atmosphere. Let's talk about some of the key players who have defined this rivalry. For the Dodgers, you can't talk about the rivalry without mentioning Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw has been the face of the Dodgers for so long, and he's had so many battles with the Padres over the years. It feels like every time the Padres think they have a chance, Kershaw comes in and shuts the door. He's the ultimate competitor, and when he's on the mound, the Padres know they're in for a challenge. On the Padres side, Manny Machado is the guy who really sets the tone. Machado, who used to play for the Dodgers, has embraced being the villain when he faces them. There's a certain intensity and edge to his game when he's playing the Dodgers, and that's what makes this rivalry so exciting. He's been a leader for the Padres, and his experience, combined with Tate's raw talent, makes for a dangerous duo. Of course, the Padres have also bolstered their pitching staff with guys like Yu Darvish and Blake Snell, both of whom have had their share of battles with the Dodgers. And on the Dodgers side, they're always stacked, whether it's with Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, or their deep bullpen. It feels like every game between these two teams is a chess match between elite pitchers and high-powered offenses. Looking ahead, I think this rivalry is only going to get better. The Padres have shown they're willing to spend money and build a team that can compete with the Dodgers year in and year out. They've locked up Tatis for the long term, and they've got a core that's built to win now. Meanwhile, the Dodgers aren't going anywhere. They're always in the mix, and with their resources and player development, they're going to be contenders for a long time. In terms of where this rivalry stands, I think it's right up there with the best in baseball. It's not quite at the level of Yankees versus Red Sox, but it's close. And with the way these two teams are built, I wouldn't be surprised if Padres versus Dodgers becomes the premier rivalry in the National League over the next decade. These teams have the talent, the personalities, and the fan bases to make this a rivalry for the ages. Every time they meet, whether it's in the regular season or the postseason, it feels like there's something bigger on the line. It's more than just another game. It's a battle for pride, for bragging rights, and ultimately for supremacy in the NL West. One thing that has helped this rivalry grow is the national attention it's gotten. With guys like Tatis and Betts on the field, these games are must-watch TV. The media has picked up on it. And now every time the Padres and Dodgers play, it feels like everyone's tuning in. That kind of exposure only fuels the rivalry. It makes every game feel like a statement game, where both teams want to prove that they're the best. Well, that's my take on the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry, and why it's become one of the most exciting matchups in baseball. There's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see even more epic moments between these two teams in the years to come. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to download today's episode of the Good Advice Giver podcast for more in-depth discussions like this one.
Sarah, female 1. Welcome back to the Good Advice Giver podcast. I'm Sarah, and I'm excited to continue our deep dive into the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry. Greg made some excellent points about the history and intensity of this matchup, so I want to build on that by focusing on the emotional and cultural impact of this rivalry on both teams' fan bases. Let's start with the fans. The Dodgers fan base is one of the largest and most passionate in Major League Baseball. Dodger fans are everywhere, and they are incredibly loyal to their team. This loyalty comes from years of success, not just in recent years but going back decades. The Dodgers have a rich history of winning, and that breeds a certain expectation. Dodger fans expect their team to be at the top every year, and when they face a team like the Padres who are gunning for their crown, it creates a unique tension. Dodger Stadium itself plays a huge role in this rivalry. There's something about playing at Chavez Ravine that makes it one of the most intimidating places for opposing teams. When the Dodgers are on a roll and the crowd is fired up, it feels like the stadium is alive. Padres fans who make the trip up to Los Angeles can feel that energy, and it adds fuel to the fire when the Padres manage to steal a game there. On the other side of things, Petco Park in San Diego has become a fortress for the Padres. In recent years, the Padres fan base has really come alive. San Diego, as a sports town, has always been somewhat overshadowed by the larger markets, but with the rise of the Padres, the city has found its baseball identity. The atmosphere at Petco when the Dodgers come to town is electric. It's not just about the game. It's about defending home turf. There's a certain pride that Padres fans have in standing up to the big bad Dodgers and showing that San Diego belongs on the baseball map. What's interesting is how the fan dynamics have shifted over the years. It used to be that Dodgers fans would flood Petco Park whenever the Dodgers were in town. You'd see seas of blue in the stands, and sometimes it felt like an away game for the Padres, even in their own stadium. But now, with the Padres becoming more competitive, San Diego fans are packing the stadium, and they're loud. The rivalry has become a true home and away battle, where both fan bases are deeply invested in the outcome of every game. From a cultural perspective, the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is also a clash of two very different cities. Los Angeles is a massive, sprawling metropolis, home to Hollywood, major industries, and a huge population. The Dodgers represent that big market mentality, where success is expected and winning is a tradition. San Diego, on the other hand, has always had more of a laid-back, underdog vibe. It's a beautiful city by the coast, known for its beaches and chill atmosphere. But now, with the rise of the Padres, San Diego is showing that it's ready to compete with the big boys, and that sense of pride fuels the rivalry even more. Now, I want to talk about some of the recent matchups between these two teams. Greg mentioned the 2020 NLDS, which was a pivotal moment in this rivalry. The Dodgers ultimately came out on top, but the series was hard-fought, and it showed that the Padres weren't just happy to be there. They were ready to compete. Even though the Dodgers won, you could sense that the Padres were just getting started. Fast forward to 2021, and the regular season matchups between the Padres and Dodgers felt like playoff games. Every game was intense, and you could feel the tension from the first pitch to the last out. The Padres took some games from the Dodgers early in the season, and there was a sense that maybe the tide was turning in the NL West. But the Dodgers, being the powerhouse that they are, weren't going to back down easily. The back-and-forth nature of those games made for some of the most exciting baseball of the season. One of the things I love about this rivalry is the personal dynamics between the players. You've got guys like Manny Machado, who used to play for the Dodgers, now leading the Padres against his former team. That adds a layer of drama to every matchup. There's always that question of how Machado's presence affects the dynamic between the teams. Does he have something to prove? Does he bring extra intensity to the field when he's facing the Dodgers? Then, of course, there's Fernando Tatis Jr., the face of the Padres' resurgence. Tatis is one of the most exciting players in the game, and his swagger and confidence are infectious. But with that confidence comes a certain level of showmanship that rubs some Dodgers players the wrong way. We've seen tensions flare up between the two teams, especially when Tatis does something like a dramatic bat flip or stares down the opposing pitcher after hitting a home run. Those moments of showmanship add fuel to the rivalry and make every game feel personal. On the Dodgers side, you've got guys like Mookie Betts and Walker Buehler who bring their own brand of intensity to the rivalry. Betts, in particular, is one of the best all-around players in baseball, and when he's on, he's a game-changer. Watching Betts go head-to-head with Tatis is a treat for any baseball fan, and it's part of what makes this rivalry so special. You've got two of the most talented players in the game on opposing sides, battling it out for supremacy. Let's not forget the pitching matchups. When these two teams face off, it's often an elite pitcher's duel. You've got Clayton Kershaw, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, going up against the Padres' ace, whether it's Yu Darvish or Blake Snell. These are the kinds of matchups that baseball purists love. Two elite pitchers trying to outthink and outpitch each other. Every pitch feels like it could be the difference maker, and that kind of tension is what makes baseball so thrilling. Looking ahead, I think we're going to see the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry continue to grow. The Padres have made it clear that they're in it for the long haul. They've invested heavily in their roster, locking up Tatis with a massive contract and bringing in talent like Machado and Darvish. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are always going to be a force to be reckoned with. They've got one of the best front offices in baseball, and they're constantly finding ways to stay at the top. What's exciting is that this rivalry isn't just about the present, it's about the future. Both of these teams have young, exciting cores, and they're built to be contenders for years to come. That means we're going to get more intense matchups, more playoff battles, and more unforgettable moments. In the end, the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is great for baseball. It's the kind of rivalry that brings out the best in both teams, and it gives fans something to get excited about every time they face off. Whether you're rooting for the underdog Padres or the powerhouse Dodgers, you can't help but get caught up in the drama, the intensity, and the excitement of this matchup. That's all from me. Make sure you download today's episode of the Good Advice Giver podcast for more insights and analysis. Thanks for listening.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey there. Welcome to Good Advice Giver. First, we want to start by saying a massive thank you for tuning in today. Whether you're a long-time listener or you're joining us for the first time, we're truly grateful to have you here. We know you've got a lot of options when it comes to podcasts, so the fact that you're spending your time with us means the world. So thank you.
That's right. We're excited to have you with us because here on Good Advice Giver, we cover just about everything. Whether you're interested in sports, relationships, sex, money, finances, business, digital marketing, music, education, movies, comedy, or something else entirely, we've got it all. No topic is off limits here, and we dive deep into real, meaningful conversations that matter.
We've also got a mix of male and female hosts, so you're always getting a well-rounded perspective on every topic we cover, from business strategies to personal development, from car shopping to digital products like affiliate marketing. We bring a little bit of everything to the table. Our goal is to offer advice, insights, and some laughs along the way to make sure you feel welcome and engaged, no matter what brought you here.
And it doesn't stop there. We're not just about giving great advice, we're about action. On this podcast, we even sell products and services we believe in, from affiliate marketing opportunities to cars and more. So whether you're looking to boost your business or find practical ways to improve your everyday life, you're in the right place.
As always, we want you to stay connected with us. Be sure to download this episode so you can listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're commuting, working out, or just relaxing. And while you're at it, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. That's the best way to stay in the loop for upcoming episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and even giveaways.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're posting extra content there, including video podcasts and deep dive discussions you won't want to miss. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what topics you want to hear more about.
Lastly, check out the link below in the description for exclusive offers, resources, and more ways to connect with us. We're here for you, and we can't wait to bring you more valuable content. Thanks again for tuning in to Good Advice Giver. Let's get started.
Marcus, male 2. Welcome back to the Good Advice Giver podcast. I'm Marcus, and I'm here to take this conversation even further as we dive into the deeper dynamics of the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry. Sarah and Greg have both given us a great overview of the history, the players, and the fan bases that make this rivalry so exciting. But I want to talk about something that often gets overlooked in rivalries like this: the psychology of competition, how these two teams have built their identities, and what it means for the broader landscape of Major League Baseball. When we think about sports rivalries, we often focus on the on-field action, the home runs, the strikeouts, the diving catches. And while those moments are certainly exciting, rivalries are about much more than just the game. They're about mental toughness, about outsmarting your opponent, and about how teams react under pressure. And in that sense, the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is fascinating because it's not just a battle of talent. It's a battle of willpower. The mental aspect of this rivalry is huge. You've got the Dodgers, who are perennial contenders. They've been there, done that. They've won World Series titles. They've dominated the NL West for years. And they know how to handle pressure. On the other hand, you've got the Padres, who are relatively new to this level of competition. They've been building something special, but they're still in the process of learning how to win on the biggest stage. That mental contrast between the experienced Dodgers and the hungry Padres is what makes this rivalry so compelling. What's interesting is how both teams have embraced their roles. The Dodgers know they're the team to beat. There's a certain confidence, some might say arrogance, that comes with being the reigning champions or the dominant force in the division. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That confidence is what drives them. They expect to win every year, and they've built their roster with that mindset. Whether it's bringing in stars like Mookie Betts or developing young talent like Walker Buehler, the Dodgers are constantly reloading and finding ways to stay at the top. The Padres, on the other hand, have fully embraced the role of the challenger. They're the team that's trying to knock the Dodgers off their pedestal, and that creates a different kind of energy. There's a certain swagger to the Padres, and that swagger comes from knowing they've built a team that can go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers. It's a confidence that's been earned, not inherited. The Padres know they've got the pieces to compete, and they've embraced the challenge of taking on the Dodgers, a team that's been the standard-bearer in the National League for years. Now, let's talk about how this rivalry has shaped the identity of both teams. The Dodgers, as I mentioned, have always been about tradition and success. They have a certain way of doing things, and that consistency has led to sustained success. Whether it's their farm system producing homegrown stars like Corey Seager and Cody Bellinger, or their ability to spend big in free agency, the Dodgers are a well-oiled machine. They have a structure and a system that's built for long-term success, and that's why they've been able to dominate the NL West for so long. But here's where things get interesting. The Padres have created an identity that's almost the polar opposite of the Dodgers. While the Dodgers have been methodical and consistent, the Padres have been bold and flashy. They've gone all in on building a team that's exciting to watch, with players like Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, who bring a level of energy and flair that's contagious. The Padres are the disruptors, the team that's trying to shake up the status quo, and they're doing it with a style that's a bit more in your face, which is why this rivalry has become so intense. Take the way Tatis plays the game, for example. He's not just a great player. He's an entertainer. He flips his bat. He dances in the dugout. He brings a swagger that you don't always see in baseball. Some people love it. Some people hate it. But there's no denying that it's part of what makes the Padres so fun to watch. And that's where the clash with the Dodgers comes in. The Dodgers are more about business. They play hard. They play smart. But they don't show a lot of emotion. The Padres, on the other hand, wear their emotions on their sleeves, and that's what makes this rivalry so intriguing. One of the moments that really encapsulated this was when Tatis hit those back-to-back home runs off Clayton Kershaw in 2021. He didn't just hit those home runs. He celebrated them in a way that made it clear he wasn't intimidated by Kershaw or the Dodgers. That's the kind of boldness that gets under the skin of Dodgers players and fans, but it's also what makes the Padres such a compelling rival. They're not afraid to take on the Dodgers head-on, and they're not going to apologize for doing it with style. Now, let's talk about the psychology of being the underdog. The Padres have embraced the fact that they're the team that's trying to dethrone the Dodgers, and with that comes a certain mentality. Being the underdog can be freeing in a way, because you have less to lose. The Padres can take risks, they can play loose, and they can challenge the status quo without the weight of expectations that the Dodgers carry. That's a powerful psychological edge that the Padres have in this rivalry. On the flip side, the Dodgers have the pressure of expectation. When you're the team that's supposed to win, every loss feels like a failure. That's why the Padres love beating the Dodgers. Every win feels like a statement, while for the Dodgers, it's just another game. But when the Padres beat the Dodgers, especially in close or dramatic games, it stings a little more for Dodgers fans because they're used to being on top. This dynamic has been on full display in the regular season matchups between these two teams. Each game feels like it has extra meaning. The Padres are always looking to prove that they belong in the same conversation as the Dodgers, while the Dodgers are trying to maintain their dominance. It's a fascinating back and forth that keeps both fan bases on the edge of their seats. Let's not forget about the coaching staffs and how they play into this rivalry. Dave Roberts for the Dodgers and Bob Melvin for the Padres bring different styles of leadership to their respective teams. Roberts is more of a steady hand. He's been with the Dodgers for a while, and he's been through the highs and lows of managing a team with big expectations. He's got that calm, methodical approach that fits the Dodgers' identity. Melvin, on the other hand, is more of a tactician. He's brought a fresh perspective to the Padres, and he's helped them take that next step as a team. His presence on the Padres bench has given the team a new level of confidence and discipline, which is exactly what they needed to close the gap with the Dodgers. These two managers are playing chess, while everyone else is watching checkers, and their decisions in these games can often be the difference between a win and a loss. Looking ahead, I think the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is only going to get better. Both teams are built to win now, but they're also built for sustained success. The Padres have locked up their core players for the long term, and the Dodgers, well, they're the Dodgers. They're always going to find a way to stay competitive. What's exciting is that we're going to see these two teams battle it out for years to come. Every time they face off, it's going to feel like a playoff game, and the stakes are only going to get higher as both teams continue to chase championships. I think we're witnessing the birth of one of the greatest rivalries in baseball, and it's going to be something that fans look forward to every season. That's my take on the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry and why it's become one of the most exciting matchups in sports. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to download today's episode of the Good Advice Giver podcast for more great discussions like this.
Jessica, female 2. Welcome back to the Good Advice Giver podcast. I'm Jessica, and I'm thrilled to close out today's discussion on the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry. We've heard from Greg, Sarah, and Marcus, and they've all brought up great points about the history, the players, the fan bases, and the psychology behind this rivalry. Now I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. How this rivalry fits into the landscape of Major League Baseball, and why it's such an important storyline for the sport as a whole. One of the things I find so fascinating about the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is how it's a microcosm of baseball's larger shifts. Baseball, as we all know, is a sport steeped in tradition. The Dodgers, with their long history and their success, represent that tradition. They've been around for over a century, and they've always been one of the most iconic teams in baseball. They've had Hall of Famers, legends, and World Series titles. In many ways, they are the epitome of what baseball has always been. But then you have the Padres, who represent a new wave of baseball. They're a younger franchise, and their recent success is built on a different foundation. The Padres aren't weighed down by the same traditions that the Dodgers are. Instead, they're free to embrace the more modern aspects of the game, whether it's advanced analytics, player development, or the way they market their stars. The Padres are a team that's fully embraced the new era of baseball, and that's part of what makes this rivalry so compelling. In some ways, the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry feels like a battle between old school and new school. The Dodgers, with their rich history and their steady, methodical approach, are like the traditional powerhouse. The Padres, with their flair, their exciting young players, and their willingness to shake things up, are the disruptors. And that's a storyline that resonates not just with fans of these teams, but with baseball fans across the country. Another aspect of this rivalry that's so interesting is how it's helped grow the sport's popularity. Baseball has struggled in recent years to attract younger audiences, but rivalries like Padres versus Dodgers are exactly what the sport needs to stay relevant. The energy, the excitement, and the personalities involved in this rivalry are helping to bring new fans to the game. Whether it's Tatis swagger or Mookie Betts' incredible talent, these are players who transcend the sport. They're not just baseball stars, they're cultural icons. And that's something baseball needs more of. Speaking of personalities, one of the things that makes this rivalry so much fun to watch is the way the players interact with each other. You've got guys like Manny Machado, who, as Sarah mentioned earlier, used to play for the Dodgers. Every time he steps into the batter's box against his former team, there's a little extra tension. You can feel it. There's a history there. And it adds another layer of drama to the rivalry. And then there's Tatis, who, let's be honest, is the most electrifying player in baseball right now. Every time he's on the field, something exciting happens. Whether he's hitting a clutch home run or making a spectacular play in the field, Tatis is must-watch TV. And when he's facing the Dodgers, it feels like he takes his game to another level. There's something about that matchup that brings out the best in him. On the Dodgers side, you've got Clayton Kershaw, who has been the face of the franchise for so long. Kershaw is a future Hall of Famer, and he's had so many memorable battles with the Padres over the years. He's one of those players who defines what it means to be a Dodger. And then there's Mookie Betts, who is one of the best all-around players in the game. Watching Betts and Tatis go head-to-head is like watching two heavyweights in their prime. It's the kind of matchup that every baseball fan dreams of. But beyond the players, what I think makes this rivalry so special is the passion that both fan bases bring to the table. Dodgers fans, as we've heard, are everywhere. They travel well, they show up in big numbers, and they're incredibly loyal to their team. But what's been amazing to see is how Padres fans have stepped up in recent years. San Diego has become a true baseball city, and the energy at Petco Park when the Dodgers are in town is off the charts. It's no longer a home game for the Dodgers when they play in San Diego. Padres fans are making their presence felt. The rivalry between these fan bases is just as intense as the games on the field. Dodgers fans have long viewed the Padres as the little brother in the NL West, but that's changed. Padres fans are no longer content to sit in the shadow of the Dodgers. They're loud, they're proud, and they're ready to go to war for their team. And that passion is part of what makes this rivalry so much fun to watch. Looking ahead, I think the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is going to be one of the defining stories of Major League Baseball for years to come. Both teams are built to win now and in the future. The Padres have locked up their core players, and the Dodgers, with their deep pockets and strong farm system, are always going to be contenders. This is a rivalry that's only going to get better as both teams continue to battle for supremacy in the NL West. In the end, the Padres versus Dodgers rivalry is great for baseball. It's the kind of rivalry that brings out the best in both teams, and it gives fans something to look forward to every time they face off. Whether you're rooting for the underdog Padres or the powerhouse Dodgers, you can't help but get caught up in the drama, the intensity, and the excitement of this matchup. Thanks for listening to the Good Advice Giver podcast. Don't forget to download today's episode for more in-depth analysis on baseball's greatest rivalries and sports topics. See you next time.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.